Imagine publishing a book that's about 22 to 32 pages, and it takes about 45 minutes to read, and there's an audience that's just clamoring to get that. And that's not out of the realm of possibilities. In fact, actually, there is something that's called Kindle Short Reads, and it's an invite-only program available through Amazon. Well, how do you get the invite, and what can you do to capitalize on these special niches? Well, today we're going to talk about that more, so make sure you stay tuned. Hey, I'm Dale L. Roberts, best-selling author, as well as a self-publishing advocate who wants to show you how to publish books that sell. And if you want that too, make sure you click the subscribe button, ring the bell notification icon, and then click it to all, so that way you don't miss a single one of these videos. So what are Kindle Short Reads? I've talked about it a little bit on this channel, but I think it bears worth in repeating exactly what they are. Well, it's an ebook only category that has up to 6 different types of categories that breaks down into sub niches, and it can be in length of any ebook that can be read within 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour and a half, and 2 hours. And of course, today we're going to be talking about 45-minute short read niches. So how do you publish to Kindle Short Reads anyway? Because I shared that it was an invite-only program. Well, here's how it works. They will categorize you automatically into the Kindle Short Reads as long as you have selected the proper BISAC category. So you're allowed to choose up to 2 BISAC categories when you're publishing your ebook. The next thing is, what type of keywords are you using in your metadata? So the 7 keyword slots is a great indicator of whether or not you should be listed in the Kindle Short Reads. And then last but not least is going to be your KENPC, otherwise known as Kindle Edition Normalized Page Count, which is the number of pages your ebook is. So how do you find Kindle Short Reads? There's the old-fashioned method. You can just go over, select any ebook, go down to the product details, select any of the browse paths, and look on the left-hand side. And you see where it says Kindle Store, we're gonna kind of backtrack a little bit, and then it will go down into Kindle Short Reads, and then it'll show you additional sub-niches on this. Now, they don't break down into any sub-niches, it's just generalized ones underneath each one of the 6 different types of Kindle Short Reads. Now, me personally, I like to look up any of the information I need to find about Kindle Short Reads by using Publisher Rocket. In fact, that's what I did for today's episode, and I found some of the best ones for us to consider when publishing to the 45-minute short read niches. But what makes a Kindle Short Reads niche worth publishing in? In other words, what are we going to be able to drive traffic to and derive income from? I like to see inside a specific bestseller list for a Kindle Short Read niche, seeing it right about 10,000 to 100,000 in the Amazon bestseller ranking. Now, 100,000 just kind of goes to show that, okay, a little bit of effort can get us into the top 10 of this given niche. Now, the 10,000 though gets a bit more competitive because obviously the closer we get to number 1 in the overall store, it's an all-out fist fight. So you know that with some moderate efforts, you should be able to place yourself in the top 10 list. And it's also proof of concept. In other words, there's people spending money on these given types of books. So I'm going to show you the top 10 best 45-minute short read niches for 2020. And we're going to go ahead and put it in order of the hardest ones to break into to the easiest ones to break into. So you're going to want to make sure you stick around to the end. Number 1, 45-minute humor and entertainment short reads. So we go right into this one right now. It's an all-out fist fight to get to number 1 spot. And I'm going to tell you that the book that's taking the top spot, the number 1 and the number 5 spot, is something that's been around for a good handful of years. In fact, I think it originally was released in 2011, and then the subsequent one you see at number 5 is it was released in 2014. But either way, I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. You can see the number 1 spot is at about 3,400 in the paid Kindle store. If you scroll down to number 10, it's at about 127,000. So there's a lot of room to kind of squeeze your way on into here. Now, what does this equate to as far as how many sales? You're looking about at less than 1 sale per day to as much as 63 ebook sales per day. So if you want to get somewhere in there, you can be able to really be successful here in the 45-minute humor and entertainment short reads category. Number 2, 45-minute health, fitness, and dieting short reads. Now, if you watched my previous broadcast when it came to the 30-minute short reads, you'll see some commonalities between the two. In fact, the number 1 spot is being taken by How to Make Natural Sanitizer. And actually, as I was doing a little bit of investigation, I'm seeing that a lot of this is coming about. It might have something to do with some of the issues, health issues that's going around. So people are probably wanting to make their own natural hand sanitizer. So in any event, you can see the number 1 spot is being held by an ebook at 99 cents. At a rank of 3,600. But if you go scroll on down over to number 10 though, you will see that it actually has a rank of 64,000. So there is a little less competition, but it's still going to be very competitive to get to the top. Now, will How to Make Natural Sanitizer stay at the number 1 spot remains to be seen. I see that kind of falling off in due time, and I think a better indication of what's going to probably stick around at the top is going to be books like the one in the number 2 spot or books like the one in the number 10 spot. So anything else that's just maybe trending at the moment may not be hanging about there, so there might be a lot of opportunity here. You're looking at about 4 to 59 ebook sales per day in order to actually break into the top 10 list on this specific niche. Number 3, 45-minute parenting and relationships short reads. Now you'll notice at the number 1 spot, there's actually a book that I'd mentioned in the previous one. So there was a little bit of an overlap in here. You can see that it was going into one category and also the other category. So you'll notice it's going to be a little bit easier to break into this one. Again, this today's video is going to be exciting because I'm showing you some stuff that really, I'm telling you, that if you were to get on top of it, you can really start to get an awesome audience and some decent income coming in. So at the number 1 spot, it's being held by a book at about 11,800. And if you scroll down to number 10, you will notice it's at about 84,500. And that equates to roughly about 2 to 15 sales per day. Not too bad. I mean, just think about that. If you got about 2 to 3 sales per day, you could put yourself into the number 10 or the number 9 spot. It's funny that again, at number 7, we see that same children's book kind of slipping in here. So you can see that it's definitely capitalized on all of the categories. Is it appropriate to each one of them? That's arguable. Number 4. 45-minute self-help short reads. Okay, so it was in my last video about the 30-minute short reads that I actually mentioned As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and here it is again showing up in 45-minute short reads. So it's very clear that there's somebody, taking advantage of some of these browse paths and slipping them on in here. You can see this one actually has about 4,900 reviews on it, so it may not be going anywhere anytime soon. It has a ranking of about 13,700, and if you scroll down to number 10, you actually will see that it actually has a rank of 57,400. Not too bad. Again, we got a little bit of wiggle room we can kind of work in there. So in order to actually place in the top 10 list, you're going to need to sell about 4 to 14 ebooks per day to slip in there. Again, it's getting easier and easier. You're going to love the upcoming ones. Number 5, 45-minute biography and memoir short reads. Now this one's fairly interesting in that it's kind of a mixed bag of different books, and I saw a couple of books that were kind of having the overlap. So for instance, The Stones, The Crows, The Grass. This particular book was in a couple of the other categories, and you'll see it here again. The number 1 spot is being held by a book at a 15,200 rank, and you go down to number 10, you'll see that it's at 39,800. That's going to equate to about 8 to 14 sales per day. It's a little bit more tough to maybe break in there. There's not as much wiggle room, but again, I think it's completely achievable for even some new authors to potentially sell anywhere from about 8 to 10 ebooks per day with the right marketing and promotion put behind it. Number 6, 45-minute LGBT short reads. So I noticed like right away that this is all erotica type romance stuff. There might be like one or two exceptions to the rule, but just on face value, based on all of these covers here, it definitely seems like it might be romance / erotica. Now, I know some of you are saying, but Dale, erotica shouldn't be showing up in these categories, but it does happen because sometimes they aren't marking the boxes appropriately. If you're doing erotica, you need to mark it as adult-only content, even if it doesn't allow you to go into these particular browse paths. So the number 1 spot is being held by a book at 23,600, and the number 10 spot is being held by one at 72,500. That equates to roughly about 3 to 12 sales per day. Again, we're kind of loosening up a little bit. There's a little more room for you to slip on in here. So I would love to see this particular category not being dominated by erotica-style books. I think that there's so much more room for growth and so much more to the LGBTQ community than just these types of works. Number 7, 45-minute religion and spirituality short reads. This is kind of a mixed bag. I was kind of expecting one thing and I got another thing, and there was like some I saw that were very Christian-based and some of them were a little bit off, but either way, the number 1 spot was actually being held by a book at 25,300, and if you scroll down to the number 10 spot, you'll see it's being held by a book at 73,400. This roughly equates to about 3 to 12 sales per day. Again, super achievable. Number 8. 45-minute computers and technology short reads. There's definitely opportunity here because at the number 1 spot, you'll see the book is holding 26,300. It's funny to note that it is a guide on setting up and installing Google Play Store on Kindle Fire. Wow. And this means that there is enough people either checking it out through the Kindle Unlimited program or buying it at $4.99. How interesting that a how-to guide is doing so well. But if you jump down to number 10, you'll see that there's just this huge divide, meaning there's a larger amount of opportunity here because the number 10 is 113,100. This is going to equate to less than 1 sale per day to as much as 11 sales per day. So this is a category that there is a lot of opportunity. I'd recommend that if you ever see any of these categories and you see books like the one at the number 1 spot, you should automatically think to yourself, okay, instead of trying to do what they're doing, what are some other offshoots? What are some other things and problems that you can help solve for the world and put it into computers and technology? So just think about that. Definitely would love to know your thoughts on what you would do. Number 9, 45-minute business and money short reads. This is not the first time I've actually mentioned business and money short reads. Actually, in the previous 2 videos about short reads. Again, I'll leave some links in the description down below. You can watch those. I actually brought up business and money short reads. There's just a wealth of opportunity, no pun intended, when it comes to business and money short reads. So at the number 1 spot, you actually will see that the book is holding at 29,500, and then at number 10, it actually has a book at 76,700. It's funny to note, and I've seen this a couple of times, that a couple of summary books have kind of managed to slip in here. And I would recommend that you steer clear from putting out summary books. Not too long ago, Ingram Spark just put down their foot saying no more summary books that are not licensed or have permission from the original people. And I'm pretty sure that Kindle Direct Publishing has something put into place that doesn't allow for doing summary books. So somehow these people are slipping through the cracks. So will we see this summary book hanging out here much longer? Remains to be seen. Hey, before we get to number 10, and this actually is going to be the best one, I saved it for last, I wanted to tell you about our exclusive sponsors, Fiverr. Now, you've heard me talk about Fiverr before in the past, and I've actually been a longtime fan of their services, but recently they rolled out something really, really cool. You got to hear me out about this. The Fiverr book and ebook store is the ultimate home for developing, perfecting, and publishing book-length content. Many people feel they have the next big book inside of them or want to attract new leads and engage their audience with an ebook that educates and converts. But many people have the trouble of turning their vision into a reality or simply don't have the bandwidth or time to write a 50-page ebook. That's where Fiverr comes in. Fiverr's all-in-one platform provides everything you need to go from concept to finished and fully packaged book. The services in the store follow the logical order of a book's life cycle. That's the best part, I think, about this new feature. Give it a see for yourself over at dalelinks.com/Fiverr. That's Fiverr. And number 1, 45-minute teen and young adult short reads. This is by far the untapped niche. I'm so surprised I don't see so much more competition here. So there's so much room for growth here, and I think that if you were to utilize this category, you can really see your author business explode. Because at number 1, you'll see that it's being held by a book at about 45,100. And if you scroll down, you'll see the number 10 spot being held by a book at 91,300. Now, this is by far the most achievable. So if you're a new author or a new self-publisher and you're wondering, okay, what should I be tapping into? What should I be getting into when it comes to self-publishing? You may want to consider this, especially if you're most interested in teen and young adult reads. So any type of publication in there, think about this. In order to get to the 45-minute read, remember it's 22 to 32 pages. So any type of a short story might be able to slip on in here that's appropriate for teen and young adults. In order to slip into that top 10, you're going to need to have at least 2 to 6 ebook sales per day. Not bad. It is probably the most achievable. I am really happy about the results I found through 45-minute short reads. What do you think about some of the results on here? And speaking of the previous videos I told you about in short reads, I covered 15 minutes and 30 minutes. I'm actually going to do an entire series. I'm going to make it super simple for you. All you got to do is click this very next video down below, and you can take a look at each one of the videos. I will see you there. What are you waiting for? Click it. See ya.